Sabrina. Welcome back to my channel. I really need a drink. Hold on. Oh, that is so flat. It's not even funny. I'm so excited to have you guys here. Today I'm going to be talking about how I read so much, because everybody's always like, how in the world do you read so much? That's like the #1 comment I get on my channel. Why is it every time I start filming I'm sneezing and I'm coughing, I'm not having a great time? So the #1 comment I get on my channel is, how do you read so much? So today I'm just going to be telling you how I read so much, because everybody wants to know. So let's do it. So the number one suggestion I have for people that have a hard time reading, can't find the time to sit down and read, is audiobooks. I listen to a ton of audiobooks. Most of my books I actually read are not hard copies, they're actually audiobooks. I listen to a lot of audiobooks because I do have a very long drive to work, so I listen to the audiobook on the way there and on the way back, and I end up probably finishing an audiobook in a couple days because of the long drive. A couple apps I use for audiobooks are Libby and Scribd. So Libby, you do have to have an active library card to use, and they do pull books from your library, but it is a really nice option because it is free, and really you can't get any better than free. It actually, you can listen to ebook, you can listen to audiobooks on there as well, which is really nice. I use that all the time. And my next suggestion is Scribd. Scribd is $10 a month, I believe, if I remember correctly. If you use my referral link down below, you get 2 months free, which is really nice to try it. They have a large selection of ebooks and audiobooks together, so I heard there's like an algorithm for how they give you books. So some people say they get limited on the amount of books they like. Some people say it's unlimited. I've never had an issue getting the books I want on there personally, so I'm not sure how it is for other people. But it is $10 a month. It is unlimited audiobooks, which is super nice. That is what I use all the time for most of my audiobook. It has a feature to bookmark too, which is really nice, because I use that feature a lot when I am reading, because I do like to tab my books. So that is something that I use a lot, because I would bookmark something where I would normally tab it. And a suggestion for audiobooks is, if you're like me and you're always on the go, you're on college campus a lot, you are working a lot, always bring headphones. I always find a chance to read at work. If I am in a place where I don't have to talk to a lot of people, I pop in headphones, I listen to an audiobook. In the car, I listen to an audiobook on the radio. In the college campus, when I'm walking to my classes or when I'm waiting for class to start, I always have an audiobook in, or I'm reading an ebook or a copy in my hands. But I normally have headphones in anyway, even if I'm reading a hard copy, because I don't want people to talk to me. So but those are like some of the suggestions I have for audiobooks, because I am an audiobook person. I know a lot of people aren't. I can listen to an audiobook double time and be fine, and a lot of people are like, I cannot do that. That's my suggestion for audiobook. Next is physical books. So a lot of people ask me how I read so many physical books. So I do force myself to make time to read my physical books throughout the day. So I always set a time in the morning right after I wake up, about 20 minutes to get some reading in. I can get about 50 pages done depending on the book I'm reading. If I'm reading a fantasy or a high fantasy, that 50 pages is going to take longer just because of how the book is written. I'm not a fast reader when it comes to fantasy. If it is a romance novel, I can fly through it and maybe get 75 pages done in that 25 minutes. But it really depends on how you read, your reading style, and what you like to read. So I do force myself to make time. So I usually do make 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes at night, which is my normal mandated reading time. I do like to force myself to read, which sounds horrible, but for me, if I don't force myself to read, I won't find time to read. So I do like to force myself to make time to read. I do read at work on my lunch break. I get a half-an-hour lunch break, so I eat while I read a book. And also, like I said, I do listen to audiobooks on the way to and from work, so that is time I spend reading. I don't really like to watch TV or anything like that, so I do really minimize that time and do spend it reading. So I know a lot of people are really big TV watchers. I personally am not, so I would rather spend that time reading. Next is a big suggestion I have for readers is to annotate your book. So to get the most out of my books, I do like to annotate, which is what I've done here. This is A Court of Thorns and Roses. This is my annotations. So how I annotate is I have a cheat sheet in my reading journal. So when I read, I normally have this cheat sheet pulled up. So this is my cheat sheet. So I use pink as romantic. I use lavender as like ooh la la, like sexy scenes. Blue I use as sad. Orange I use as funny. Yellow I use as foreshadowing. Green I use as what the heck's happening here. And purple I use as funny. Oh, apparently I use purple and orange as funny. I'm just noticing that. A lot of people always ask where I get my tabs at. My tabs look like this. I get them at the Dollar Tree. They are $1 for 400 little tabs, and you come with 2 things of yellow, 2 things of orange, a red, a purple, a blue, and a green, and a pink. So it's really nice because you have a lot for foreshadowing, which authors like to do a lot, and you also have a lot for funny, which books are funny a lot. So, and then when I annotate my books, I literally am just reading like normal, and then when I come across a section I would like to annotate, I literally just stick my little tab there and put the pointy funny part and where I want to annotate. So right here, my annotation is the first time Tamlin ever told Feyre she thinks she's beautiful. So I thought that was a very important part of the story, so I did go ahead and annotate it. So like I said, I do annotate pretty much anything I want. I don't really follow some people's annotations of only annotate what's important. I annotate anything I'd like to come back someday and look on it and think, man, I really did love that, or I really did think that was funny, or I really did think that was romantic. So that's how I annotate. A lot of people are super picky on what to annotate, but I'm not. I will annotate anything. So next I want to talk about what I read the fastest. So I tend to read romantic, contemporary, young adult the fastest. I can fly through one of those books in a couple days, but it really depends on if I like the book or not. Right now I am reading The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I just started this book last night and I'm already on page 100, which is about halfway through. So it really depends on if I like the book or not. This book is very good, so obviously I'm flying through it. So it really depends for me if I like the book, if I don't like the book, if I'm not understanding the book. A lot of times I run into the fact that I'm not understanding the book, I don't know what's going on, and I have to flip back 100 pages or even start the book over, which is obviously a problem. Next I'm going to talk about background noise. A lot of people cannot read unless it's silent. I'm not one of those people. Maybe because I grew up in a house where my sister was yelling a lot because she has a big voice. I have a big voice in case you can't tell, so I really am from a family of people with big voices. So growing up I really learned how to drown those voices out and be able to focus in on what I was doing, whether it was homework, reading, TV. I didn't listen to it. So now I can read, like right now I can focus while my husband's outside mowing the lawn. I can read when the TV's on. I can read pretty much anywhere and everything and it doesn't bother me at all. But I do recommend, if you need background noise for reading, there is a whole bunch of amazing background noises on YouTube. There are ocean sounds, night sounds, trains, really anything you can think of. So if you do like background noise, there are a lot of options on YouTube. If you like silence, I highly recommend going outside. So I do recommend going outside if you like to read. I live in a very small town, so there's not many cars that go by. It's very quiet. So anytime I need a good scenery, I do go outside to read. If you like a quiet place, I always suggest a bedroom, a different room than what people are hanging out in. I used to read in my mom's room because my parents normally are in their room unless they're going to sleep. So basically any quiet room you can find. I used to read in the bathroom if I had to, so yeah, so basically any room you can find. I also recommend the library. My library in my new town actually forces people to be quiet. You can't go in there if you're being loud. At the old library I used to go to, they used to let kids run around and be noisy, which is really stressful when you're trying to go there to study or to read or do something else. So I would recommend trying your local library and see if how that works for you as well. My next suggestion is, if you're looking to read a lot, always bring something to read with you. So I have the Libby app and the Scribed app on my phone, so I can read on my phone, but normally I do not recommend reading on your phone just because I can't read on a screen this small. I will also bring my physical book pretty much anywhere I go. I don't stress about it. Like most of my books are hardcovers. I just take the dust cover off and I'll bring my book anywhere I go to read. And I also have a Kindle, which is just turning on because I just charged it from being totally dead. And I also have an iPad. So these are amazing choices if you're looking for something to read physically that you have a ton of options on. A lot of books are free if you have Amazon Prime, which I do. Amazon Prime is $14 a month and there are a ton of books you can read for free. And then for $10 a month you can also get Kindle Unlimited, which are a ton of free books. They have hot top bestseller novels, which is amazing. I personally don't use that just because I have so many other book subscriptions that I do use, so it's really a waste for me to get it. But I would highly recommend getting a smartphone that you can get those apps on, or get a Kindle you can get those apps on, or even an iPad. You can find them on Facebook yard sale a lot for super cheap, or you can get them refurbished for super cheap. So this is my Kindle. My battery is totally might die, but on the book, so obviously mine's super old, so it does take a second to load. I've had this since 8th grade, so obviously it's getting a little old. It's loading, it's loading, it's loading, it's loading, loading, it's loading. So right from the Kindle, you can go directly to the Amazon App Store and look at all the books they have for sale. They also have this super cool thing. So you can filter by Prime reading, and you can filter by all the books you can get for free because of your Prime, or you can filter by Kindle Unlimited, so you can get all of those books for free under Kindle Unlimited. That is something I really push, that if you really want to read for free or you need cheap books, is to get a Kindle. They're about $100, $150 depending on what one you get, but you can get all those books for free. Even if you have it on your phone, you can get them for free, which is super. Next is how I have afford books. So as you guys can tell, I have a ton of books. I am extremely fortunate to have a very good job, so I can set aside a budget every month to buy the books I want to buy. But if you do not have that opportunity, let me tell you how you can afford books for cheap. So first thing I force is coupon codes. You can find them anywhere. Just literally Google coupon codes for your bookstore you want to look for. You could probably find them. So that is the #1 thing I have to say about books. Coupon codes are your friend. Facebook yard sale, I find books on there all the time. I just bought the entire House of Night series for $10 off of a girl, which was super exciting. It was 10 books for $10, so I could not say no to that. Check your local thrift stores as well. My 2 Salvation Army I have 2 Salvation Armies near me and 1 Goodwill. Goodwill's books are normally about $1. Salvation Army, the one that's about an hour away from me, is 10 cents for any book, and then the one next to me is 50 cents for paperback books. So that is super nice. You can find cheap books. They always have sales on colors, so if it's that color you can get 50% off. So a 25-cent book I personally can't say no to. And then I always talk about the dollar store. They always have bestsellers from Walmart, Meijer for $1, a brand new book. So I would always check there as well. I'm gonna also mention the Barnes & Noble membership. So I just got the Barnes & Noble membership, so I'm still pretty new to it. So it was $25 and you get 10% off your purchase every time you go in. The first time you get the membership, it costs $25, but you also get 25% off your purchase. So if you do go to Barnes & Noble a lot, or you're looking into buying Barnes & Noble's editions, I would really recommend spending that $25 and getting that coupon code every time you go, because it's 10% off. You don't even have to have your Barnes & Noble card. All your friends and family can use it, so it's super nice. As mentioned before, if you're looking for cheaper books, I would definitely recommend Libby, which is free if you have a library card. Scribe, $10 a month with unlimited audiobooks. Especially if you want audiobooks, those are the 2 ones I use, and they're super cheap. They're not very expensive. And the last thing, if you want to buy cheap books, is Book of the Month. So I spend $15 a month, and it is 1 hardback book, but you can add books for $10. So $10 for a hardcover book is something that I really enjoy, because $10, and they are really nice books. They're all the same size, and they look super amazing on my shelves, and I love them. And the 2 cheapest bookstores that I have ever found that I personally love is Thrift Books and Book Outlet. If you have any other recommendations on cheap places to buy books, please comment down below and tell me, because I'm always looking for cheaper places. So Book Outlet, your prices really range from 50 cents to upwards of $10. I have personally bought books for $1 on there. They're brand new books for $1, and normally they're have a little deficit, so they are misspelled somewhere inside. They are not good enough for actually Barnes & Noble. That's why they go to Book Outlet. So I personally have never had an issue purchasing from Book Outlet, and if you're looking for books on a budget, that is definitely the #1 place I would recommend. Next is Thrift Books. I have always purchased from Thrift Books. I love Thrift Books. Basically, their books are used, so they get them from libraries, they get them from lenders, they get them from people who don't want these books anymore. Some of them are really, really nice quality, almost brand new. Some of them are really beaten up, so it really depends on how you want to get your quality. You do have 4 different options to purchase, so it goes from poor to like new. So obviously you get the chance to pick your quality. It really varies by book what qualities they have, but usually when I order, I try to order like new, just because I like new looking books. I like my shelves to look very nice, so I do get like new books. But I think that's all I have to say. I really hope you guys enjoyed all of my recommendations. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me talk about books. I hope you guys take some of these recommendations and use them, and I will hopefully see you guys in my next video.